Hello everyone. So in this video we are going to discuss about classes and objects. We should know what is a class, what is object, and where these classes are residing on the computer memory, and even the where the objects are getting created in which part of computer memory. And also we are going to learn how to access these static and non-static members of a class. Okay. So first we'll know what is a class. Actually, class is a blueprint or a prototype from which the objects are created in JVM. And this .java files or the .class files, they are residing on hard disk memory, and they are loaded into the heap memory or into the RAM on demand. Like whenever the JVM loads these classes .class files, so JVM runs in RAM memory, and these .class file will be loaded from hard disk to RAM, and then the objects will get created. Yeah, and the next one is, what is object? Object is a runtime entity. They are the instances of class, and these objects are created in heap memory. Okay, yeah, we'll know how to create object and how to access these static and non-static members of a class with the help of a program. So I have created two classes. One is class sample, another one is class main. These are the very simple classes. Here, if I visit the first class sample, there are two variables got defined. One is the non-static variable int a, and the other one is static variable str1. Both are initialized, and also we have defined two methods, out of which one of the method is non-static, the other one is static. What we are doing in the method one, we are incrementing the value of the non-static variable a, and we are printing the updated value. And in the method 2, which is the m2, so here we are modifying the static variable str1. Okay, and we are just concatenating some other string with the original string. That's what we are doing. Very simple operation, basic operation, and we are just printing the variables at the end. Okay, here and even here. So here our focus is to know how to create object, how to access these members, either the instance variable or instance method, or static variable or static method. We'll also know how these objects are created, and they'll initialize these variable values. Okay, that discussion is there. We'll keep it at the end. Yeah, before that, so want to tell you what we are doing in main class. So in the main class, we have a main method defined, and where we are creating two objects of sample class. This is just to access the class members. Okay, so yeah, so before we discuss everything here, let's try to understand in a broader way using the help of a diagram. Yeah, so I just kept the things here so that it will give you a clear picture of what's happening internally. Okay, so if you see here, the same sample class is there, and also the main class. So whenever you define if you create a Java file, So suppose I have created sample.java file, and inside the Java file I have two classes defined. Out of them, in one of the class we have a main method. So whenever you want to run this class, first you need to compile this class. So Java compiler take care of that thing. Okay, so yeah, so it should be, sorry, okay, let's assume that the file name is main.java, and under the main.java you have the class sample and class main. Okay, so what you will do, first you will compile the code. So for that you need to pass the Java file to a compiler. The compiler will scan the complete code. If there are any syntactical or semantic mistake, then it will throw an error. If not, a .class file will be created. Okay, so how many classes are defined in your .java file? Those many .classes file will be created. I have just taken one .class for reference. So just to let you know people that what will actually happen in this case. So it's not only sample.class will be created, also the main.class will be created. So in your Java file, the number of class file you define, those many .class file will be created once your code is compiled. So what you will pass to a JVM? You got the .class file. Now you want to produce the output. So you have written something. First, say, you have some agenda, right? You want to perform some operation, and then you want to print the value on the console. So that is what the actual intention of your program. So now what is there in your hand? So you have a sample.class file. So you have to provide this input to the JVM. So once the JVM takes this class file, then it will produce the output. Okay, so what will happen in this scenario? So your main.java file, once if you save, this will be residing in the hard disk, and once your code is compiled, all the .class file also will be residing in your hard disk. And then once if you ask JVM to take this so and so sample .class file as an input and produce the output, or process this .class file, that case the JVM will load the .class file into the RAM and it will process it, and that's how the objects are got created in the heap memory, and you will get the output. Okay, you should know this because that differentiation will make you understand better things, right? So memory is also one of the important area where you need to know where my .java files are stored or .class files are stored, and also when it comes to JVM architecture, right, you will get to know about more things. Okay, for now you can assume in this way. This is what is happening. Yeah, we'll move on. So this is what will happen when you compile or run the code. Okay, and now we already discussed what is there in the sample class, and what we are going to do in main class we'll discuss now. So in the main class we have a main method, and we have created two objects of type sample. So you create the object using a new operator. See, new is an operator. This will actually create the object in heap memory. So this is a constructor. If you see in the sample class, there is no constructor defined. then who will add the constructor? The compiler will add the constructor if there is no constructor defined in the class. So this is how you are going to create the object of type sample. So what is the constructor? Constructor will create the object and it will initialize the object. That's what the constructor is. We can also perform some other operation, but yeah, the main intention of the constructor is this. So once the object is created, the object hash code will be written and it will be stored in a variable. This is what a reference variable. This is a reference variable of type sample. We discussed in the last video what is a local variable, class level variable. Okay, but here if you see, these are the reference variable which are local to this method. And now we'll get into more things. So now we have created two objects. So whenever you say new sample here, right, you're calling the constructor. So what will happen? It will create the object and hash code will be written. And in the object one and object 2 reference variable, you will be having the hash code of the object. So how does that look like? See here. Assume that this is created in heap memory and you have object 1, object 2 here. So once the object is created in heap, so we have discussed that class is a blueprint from which the objects are created in JVM. So once the object is created, the object won't be empty, because in the class, if you see, there are two variables defined, or we also call this the properties, right? Class properties. So if you see here, there are two variables defined, right? Int a and str1. So this is a instance variable. That means the memory allocation for this variable will happen when the object is created. See here, once the object is created through new keyword, the memory allocation will happen to the instance variable. That's the reason memory allocation for variable a happened and it got initialized to 20, because the default value we have given in the class is 20. Similarly, for object 2, you have object with the initial value of variable a as 20. This and this both are instance variable. This is specific to this object and this instance variable is specific to this object. And now then we have the static variable, right? So where it went? So whenever you load the class, right, you load the class in the sense the JVM will load the class. So whenever you provide the main.class to JVM will load this class. Once the class is loaded, also the sample, so if you see here, for the more clear understanding, the static variables, they are created, it's like a copy, they are created during the class loading. They are not created during when the object is created. So first thing, your class is loaded, then the objects are created. So once your classes are loaded, the JVM will check whether you have declared or defined any static variables in your class. If yes, those will be created first and those will be initialized, and then the objects are created. Once the objects are created, if you see, the class sample has an instance variable a, and also it has static variable. So once this class is loaded, first it will create the static variable, it will initialize it, and once the objects are created, then it will share that variable. Okay, so yeah, for more clear understanding we see here, so you can change this. If you change, suppose you are changing the value of a in the object 1, you are making this 30, and if you are printing the instance variable a using object 1, 30 will be printed. But if you print object 2 a variable, 20 will be printed. So these, the instance variable are specific to that object. But in the second case, if you observe, object 1 is modifying, because it is sharing this variable. If this is modifying this string, and if you're trying to access through this object, the modified version of the string will be returned. Or if you're trying to print that value, or if you're trying to concatenate with other strings, so the modified version of the string will be there. Okay, so the shared variable is what? The static variable. Static variable will be shared across all the objects of the class, or the same class I'm saying. Only the instance variable will be specific to that object, but the static variable will be shared across all the objects that are created in the heap memory. And once if you are trying to change the value of the static variable, it will be affected when you read it from any other object. Okay, yeah, we'll move on. This is the important differentiation we should know for a clear understanding of a static and non-static variable. Yeah, we'll move on. If you see at the main class, we discussed that the objects are created, and what we're trying to do here is we are trying to access the variable. If you see here, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to access the a variable, and I'm assigning 50 to it. Already 20 was there, so I'm updating the value from 20 to 50. And if I print object 1 dot a, 50 will be printed, not 20, because we have modified it. But when you print object 2 dot a, 20 will be printed, because object 2 a reference a static variable, non-static variable is not changed. It is still the same, right? So I'm modifying the instance variable of object 1. Yeah, and now I'm printing this value. So what will be printed? 50. In the next line, what I'm trying to do, I am trying to access the shared variable, which is a static variable, and I'm trying to modify it. I'm saying it was demo earlier. If you see here, initially it was demo, but using the object 1, I'm making it demo 2. Okay, one more important thing. Yeah, maybe we can discuss this later. Yeah, I'll get to this point later, the one which is commented here. So I'm trying to change the shared variable value. I made demo 2, and then I'm trying to print that variable, shared variable. It should display, or it should print demo. Okay, so these two we have discussed. Now in these two sections, what we have done, we tried to access the instance variable, and we tried to access the static variable. Now the time to access the static or non-static method. Okay, so in this class you have two methods, which is non-static and static, and you are trying to access M1 method using the object 1. So M1 method will be executed, whatever there in the code within the method will be executed. So what it is doing, it is just incrementing the a value. So object 1 contain, now object 1 a variable is 50, so it will print 60. And then the next line, if you see, we are calling m2 method, but what it is calling, we are calling through class name, right, not the object. So that is the logic. So all the static variables and static methods can be called using class names, because if you see here, we have discussed that static variables will get the memory allocation during the class loading. So there is a guarantee that even when the objects are not created, the static variables exist. So instead of calling through the objects, we can call these variables using the class name. That is a recommended way, better way. You can also call static variables or members or methods using the object, but even before creating object, we can call these members using class name. That's the reason one of the line, if you see here, I called one of the static method using the class name. So m2 will be created. So it's doing some operation here, it will be printed, and then there is another method we are calling. I think this is not needed. Maybe we can omit this part. So basically the idea here is to discuss how we are going to access the static and non-static variable or methods. So this is what will happen when the program execution, the class load, during the class loading, or during the time when JVM create the object or it loads the class, where the static or non-static variables memory allocation happen. This is what it is. So this is very important. If we know the differentiation between the static and non-static, then things will be easy going forward. Now we'll try to execute this code. The same thing, whatever we have discussed there, the same thing. So maybe we can revisit once again. So we have the non-static, static variable, non-static method and static method, where it is printing some variable value, and you created two objects, and you're trying to reassign some value, modifying some value specific to that object, and then you're printing it. And here you're also modifying the another variable, a string variable, in using the object one. So only object one's reference or static reference variable will be modified here, and using object one you're trying to modify the shared variable, which is static variable. So, and once if you access this variable through object 2, then you will get the updated one. So with the one which is updated by the object 1, the same value you will get when you're trying to access the shared variable with any other object. So that is the difference. And you're trying to call, this is not needed, you're trying to call the instance method, and you're trying to call the static method using the class name. Okay, and if you see here, you can also you can also access the static variable using the class name. No error. So that's how you can code actually. We'll try to run this program. So we have the main method here, right? So once if you run the program, the JVM will check whether the class contains the one of the class contains the main method. If there is a main method, then that method will be executed, and whatever the code is written under that main method will be executed and processed. Let's run this and check. So this we have 4 print statement. 50, we are assigning the instance variable a with value 50, and we're printing that value, and we got this output. Here if you see, we're trying to access the static variable through object1, and we update it with a new string demo2, and we're calling the non-static and static methods. So see here, yeah, these are called m1 and m2 are called. So this is what it is, and this is how you are going to access these members. It's very important. These are the basic things we should know, and I hope that this session helps you, and we will meet in the next video. Thank you.